Hi everyone, so I wanted to make a podcast. I have been a long time knitter and crafter and crocheter for probably the last 6-7 years. Before we get into all introductions and everything like that, I probably should introduce myself. My name's Katie, I'm 28. I live in the UK. If my accent didn't play that across to you, I am a black country girl, so I live in the West Midlands. I live in a not a very small town, it's quite a decent sized town, about 20 minutes away from Birmingham, and that's our biggest city within the West Midlands area. Obviously then you're going up to like London way and places like that. So yeah, I am a mum of one. I predominantly knit and crochet for him. I've got a little boy, his name's Harry. Doubt he'll ever make an appearance on this podcast. That goes the same with my partner. He probably won't ever make an appearance. I've been with Ian, who's my partner, for nearly 4 years now. And yeah, he and I met during a work function. Well, not a work function. He was covering my pub. He was a manager at the time, and I was a lowly associate. I, up until very recently, worked predominantly in the pub trade. Worked in a couple of pubs and a couple of different like catering functions and stuff. So yeah, I met Ian when he covered my pub, and then funnily enough I married my ex-husband and we had Harry, and then he divorced me. So yeah, I started probably about 18 months ago, nearly 2 years ago now, started hardcore watching podcasts and loved how it was a massive community. And I had a few struggles with depression and things like that, and yeah, it's crafting and not thinking about it and the way my life was at the time. It really helped me to not give up hope, so to speak. I'm not on antidepressants anymore. I haven't been for about 2 years, so I don't really suffer with it anymore. I still have moments where I feel a bit shit, but yeah, apart from that, I'm quite happy now. I got over that part of my life. So yeah, as I said, I've got a little boy. Predominantly what I make is for him and my 8-month-old nephew. So yeah, I started knitting probably just before I got pregnant with Harry. Really wanted to start knitting things, and it was quite a motherly thing to do when you're expecting and you knit things and you make things for your baby, you know. And I started knitting then, and then learnt to crochet probably after I had Harry, because I remember I wanted to learn to crochet around the edge of a baby blanket that I'd knit, I think, and Harry was still a very tiny baby at that point. So yeah, I taught myself how to knit and to crochet. I learnt probably a really, really long time ago from my mum, and then as kids do, I grew up. I discovered alcohol and boys, and then promptly forgot. But yeah, I re-taught myself how to knit probably about 7 years ago now. Yeah, didn't really hardcore get back into it for about about 2 years ago now, I did mainly crochet up until then. I used to run a business crocheting blankets and hats and things on Facebook and on the internet and things like that. But yeah, I had to give that up a couple of years ago because of obviously depression and yeah, so got hardcore back into knitting, taught myself how to flick recently, so I enjoy it a lot more than what I used to because I was a thrower. And yeah, so right, I have not much else to say as of introductions. I'm quite an easy person to get to know. I like to read quite a lot. I like to knit, obviously like to knit and crochet quite a lot. I am a massive gaming nerd, so I play online and like online multiplayers and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm a massive bookworm, love to read. Could read probably about 6 or 7 books a week if I let myself. Yeah, massive gamer. And obviously I trained as a chef at college and things like that, so I'm creative in other ways apart from just like fibre crafts. So I'm teaching myself how to hand letter, because it's something I always wanted to do. Couldn't really get hang of it with a fountain pen, so I'm trying some of the techniques and stuff, because obviously I love how hand lettering looks, and it would make my life so much easier than having to keep repeatedly printing everything off. So yeah, I'm trying to learn how to hand letter at the moment. I bake quite a lot, I cook quite a lot. I cook most of our meals at home from scratch. You know, I did train as a chef, so that comes fairly easily to me. Yeah, what else am I into? Not really an arty person. I can't really draw or anything like that. But yeah, apart from that, normal person, into comic books, into what normal people are into. I like series, I like watching movies. You know, Ian and I often can sit down and watch a series together and we thoroughly enjoy it. So, as of introductions go, I think that's about it. If you have any questions or you want to get to know me better, I have set up a Ravelry group, and I will pop and ask me anything thread in there. If anybody really wants, there's like burning questions that you want to know. But apart from that, shall we crack on out the knitting? I do have a couple of, pardon me. I do have a couple of hose and a couple of whips and a finished object. So yeah, apart from that, I have a very nice beverage in my awesome Star Wars mug. Told you I was a nerd. I got this from Disneyland when I went last month, because it's still March, yeah, so I went over a month ago. I took Harry for his 6th birthday with my parents and Ian and my brothers, and he had an absolutely amazing time over there. He walked around like this with like gobsmacked at all the characters running around and all the rides and everything, and he had dinner with Mickey, so that's all that matters. He's happy. So I am a coffee drinker. I don't really like tea very much. I don't mind a herbal tea every now and again, but predominantly it's coffee. I can't live without it. So my finished object that I have is over here, because I've chucked it over there. I knit the Sockhead hat by Kelly McClure. So a few weeks ago, probably towards the beginning of March, we had a lot of really bad snow, and it was really cold here in the UK, so I decided to knit myself a hat because I needed one. So yeah, this is, I didn't really adjust the pattern very much because I didn't really need to. So yeah, I knit this, cast on 144 stitches, which is what she suggests in the pattern for an adult size. I didn't really look at the sizing, to be honest. I then did 4 inches of rib, which surprisingly I didn't mind. I got a bit fed up like right at the end when I was like, I want to start knitting. But yeah, I don't really mind rib. And then I did 8 inches of stockinette, which was great bust knitting. Even though I don't have to travel very far for my other job, normally, dependent on what time I get out or whatever, I have to wait like 20 minutes for the bus. So bus stop knitting. And yeah, just followed the pattern as she did. I did. She recommended in her pattern to modify it slightly to how you wanted it to look. Either do 7 inches or 9 inches. So me being awkward, I did 8 inches. Yeah, didn't want it like massively slouchy, but also didn't want it like a proper beanie. But yeah, I suppose I can put it on. Although every person and their mother have knit this hat, so yeah, it's still slouchy. I debated putting a pom-pom on it, but then I thought no, because I already have a hat with a pom-pom on and I can't find it, and my pom-pom started coming off and it looked really ratty. So yeah, the yarn that I used, this is being really badly blown out because I have a light like directly above me. This is Wendy Rome, not the Fusion, fingering weight in her, oh bugger me, what's it called? I'm going to have to find my piece of paper where I wrote it down. Wendy Rome in Windermere. That was the colour I was looking for. It's this lovely, it's a very subtly, I wouldn't call it a stripe, but it's like a very subtle, it's a multicolour basically. It's like a dusty lavender with shots of pink and green and blue. And yeah, really liked it. Awesome to work with. It was fairly cheap to buy. Probably have enough to do a pair of socks if I really wanted to, if I was just doing vanilla socks with a contrast heel toes and cuffs. But I've misplaced my scales, so I don't actually know how much I've got. I would say it's about 45-50 grams, something like that, maybe 40 grams, just because of how small the cake is. But yeah, probably could get a pair of socks out of this, or very short socks, if I did contrast heels, toes and cuffs. So yeah, socket hat, really loved it. As a person who knits quite a lot of hats, it was relatively simple. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was great mindless knitting when I was sitting in front of the telly, or if, as I said, if I was in the bus stop or whatnot. So I have 2 hose, I have 2 socks that I am currently knitting. I decided this, I started this last month and then kind of hit my funk with them and didn't really want to finish them, and then I picked them up last night and I finished a sock. So this is the Hermione's Everyday Sock pattern by Erica Luda, or Luda, however you want to pronounce it. I knit this with this yarn. It looks a lot more purple on the screen because obviously bright light, as Gizmo would say. But this is a very, very hot pink. Well, it's like a hot raspberry pink. This is by a German brand called Tiger. I got it off eBay for, it was meant to be a slipper set, but it was really, really cheap. And to say that it was 75% superwash wool and 25% nylon, put my teeth in, for the amount of money that I paid for it, I wouldn't mind actually going and getting another one and doing, because they've got like a royal navy blue and obviously like this hot pink. I might go and get the other one and go and knit myself a blue pair in a different texture, because obviously I don't tend to knit textured socks unless it is like this plain. My other socks that I've knit have been, I actually have another ball of the other one here. Excuse me. So my first ever pair of socks that I knit were out of this. This is a skein of Knit Global. She's a dyer and she predominantly sells on eBay, and this is her Rose Garden colourway. But because of how the stripes ended up, I called these my Neapolitan socks, because they were fairly chunky stripes of the pink and like the tanny brown and like the cream, so they look like Neapolitan swirls. So with these kind of like variegated yarns, I tend to knit plain vanilla. But my first ever pair of plain socks, I decided to do textured ones, just because it was more interesting than just knitting round and round and round like hot pink for like forever. So yeah, I do, for my socks, I do 64 stitches with just a normal long tail cast on, because I haven't learned any other one at the moment. I do plan to learn the German twisted eventually, or is it Judy's magic cast on? I can't remember off the top of my head, but these are fairly stretchy enough for me anyway. I don't have a mega tight gauge, so I'm kind of in the middle. I'm not super loose and I'm not mega tight, so these tend to stay on my legs fine anyway. So yeah, I do 1.5 inches of ribbing, and then I do, for my leg, it's about 4.5 inches of whatever pattern I'm doing. So how I do it, I just measure till this is 6 inches basically, and then I do Fish Lips Kiss. Now this one I didn't understand, because obviously every time I've done Fish Lips Kiss, and this is the 3rd time that I've done it, it tells you to knit 1 inch of stockinette before you put the heel in, and I don't know if I did it right, because obviously every time that I've knit these, they've all just been plain stockinette socks. So yeah, I do Fish Lips Kiss because I have a low arch and it fits my foot better than any other heel that I've tried. I haven't tried many, but I've tried enough to know what I like. My first ever pair of socks, which I did in the Knit Global, the pinky coloured ones, did a traditional heel flap and gusset. Liked it, didn't really, it fit, and it was nice to wear, but it didn't fit my heel the way I wanted it to. After that one, I did a King Cole zigzag pair with, it's like the mock fair oil with the stripes. and did an afterthought heel. Total disaster. Won't ever do it again. Liked not having to stop and knit the heel and then carry on, but I cut my heel in too late, so I had a massive leg and then not enough room for my foot, so didn't like that. And then the short row heel that I used, didn't like it, didn't fit my foot very nicely. And then I found this one, so I did, on my third pair of socks that I knit, I just did plain stockinette, 64 stitches, my usual up to 6 inches for the leg, and then I popped my heel in and tried it on, and it fit really nicely. I then do 4.5 inches for my foot, and then do a double decreased toe, which is about 2 inches, because I have ginormous feet. I am a UK size 7, which is an EU 42, I think. So basically I have man size feet. But it's quite funny because I'm very short. I'm only 5'5". So my partner calls me a penguin because I have huge feet and I'm not tall. So yeah, it is a half object. I do have another one. It's very, I'm about 2.5 inches off from putting the toe in. So probably get these done within like today or tomorrow, tonight or tomorrow should I say. My bag, if you're wondering, is Nightmare Before Christmas, because I am a massive geek and I love Jack Skellington and Sally, and nothing more to say than that. Nightmare Before Christmas is one of my favourite ever animated films. Comes close second with Little Mermaid, because I was an 80s child, and that was my most favourite ever growing up film. So yeah, Nightmare Before Christmas bag. Had it off eBay like 2 years ago, and I don't remember where I got it from. So it is a half object. This one's a whip, because obviously I'm still knitting on it. So yeah, the grey that I'm using, I do have a full ball here. This is Grundle. I think it's German, not 100% sure. Yeah, this is just in their light grey colourway. It's colour 02, if you ever want to know. 75% virgin wool, not superwash, and 25% polyamide, which is nylon. So pretty standard sock yarn. I tend to get these kind of sock yarns off the internet because they are cheaper, and I can get Amazon Prime, so I get them delivered fairly quickly. So yeah, Tiger German wool, which was £3.50 off eBay, I think, and this one was an Amazon jobby. So yeah, the reason you're seeing the full ball instead of like a caked up version is because I ordered 2. So I actually have another pair of socks, which I'm going to show you now, which have grey heels, toes and cuffs, the same as what these ones do. Let's pop that over there. So my next hoe and whip, shall we say, these are, it is a hoe, another pair of socks. Need to weave my ends in this one. I did it on the other one, not this one. So yeah, same basic principle. 64 stitches, 1.5 inches of ribbon, knit for 4.5 inches so it goes up to 6. Fish lips kiss heel, 4.5 inches of stockinette, and a double decreased toe. My Kitchener looks dodgy on this one. Don't know why. I always do it the same way. This colourway, it looks kind of camo printy, even though it's not supposed to. This one is a Italian brand of sock yarn. It's called Adriafil. It's in their Calza sock base. Don't have the label with me. This one is 030, or 030, whichever way you want to pronounce it. And it's tones of green and grey and burgundy, and it was fairly cheap. So that, and I'd knit with this brand before, and I really liked how it knit up. I have a blue and purple one. It's like multiple blues and purples, and it's really nice. So yeah, that's that one. It is a whip as well, even though this whip is slightly less than the other one. My stitch markers as well, if you want to know, these are from Hannah of the Corner of Craft. Did I show you my other one? So I have a little narwhal, which she kindly made for me, and I have a little pumpkin. I do have a unicorn floating about, but I don't know what I've done with it, so it's probably in a project bag somewhere attached to something. So yeah, this one is more so for when I'm waiting at the bus stop now, because obviously I've finished my stocking it out. So yeah, 2 sock whips and hose, which I always think sounds really naughty. Right, I have one more knitting whip and one crochet whip. My knitting whip is, this one's been going for a little while. I started it at the end of last year and then kind of never really got into it. Excuse me, I'm throwing things on the floor. So this is my Spindrift Shawl by Helen of Curious Handmade. I'm about 25% through the increases, but it's a lot of stitches. And I'm not even, as I say, I'm not even anywhere near close to finishing. The yarn that I'm using is this one. Don't know if you can see that. Razzle Dazzle, the sock ball. It's their Superwash Angora mix. It doesn't have a colour name on it, but I imagine it wouldn't be that hard to find. I found it on eBay. It was a two ball set. I think I paid about £8 for it. And I'd never really knit with Angora before, and it's so soft and squishy. It's beautiful. But this is like, it's, as you can see, it's pulling quite badly, but I don't care. It will keep me so warm next winter when I actually get around to finishing it. But yeah, it's purples and like olivey greens and like a tanny brown and a white, and I absolutely love it. The increases are like these little, you do a yarn over on the purl row and a knit yarn over knit on the knit row. But yeah, Helen offers her, if you subscribe to her email class, she offers it you for free. But I'm not going to say any more than that, obviously, because you can buy it as a paid for pattern, but also it is available as a free pattern. So yeah, knitting this one on 3.75s. She asks for a 4mm, but I didn't have a 4mm spare, so 3.75 it was. That, and I don't mind that it's slightly tighter, because obviously this the gauge on this is 3 to 4mm anyway, so I don't really mind that. And I don't mind if it's smushy and quite tight. So yeah, this one is in my she's Nelly Welly on Etsy. Her tag, probably can't see that. Nelly Welly on Etsy. Her bags are really well made, and I think this was about 10 or 12 quid, and it's a decent size. I've got my shawl and 2 cakes of yarn in this, so about 75 grams of wool, and there's like still loads of space for it. My Game of Thrones bag, if you were interested, because who wouldn't be? Game of Thrones is awesome. This one is from Amelia X Joy on Etsy. This is her sock bag, but I really like it just because it's an awesome size. I can squish it in my handbag if I need to, or in my rucksack if I'm going out anywhere. And yeah, as I don't know where my Nightmare Before Christmas one, who it was sold by, because I can't remember. So that's it, all of it for the knitting. I do have one crochet project that I am kind of sort of working on. I have got quite a lot of acrylic in my stash. So yeah, I'm just crocheting granny squares. Really easy. Do a magic loop, crochet a granny square, do 5 rounds, and then I will pop a border on it and then join them all together. I don't know if they're all going to be this colour, because this is like a lovely like aquamarine blue, because I do, as I said, I do have quite a lot of acrylic in my stash. I've got at least 2 or 3 storage boxes full of it. So yeah, just wanted it to just like, because I have, well, this is my sofa here. I do have black sofas and they're quite cold in the winter because they're leather. So yeah, just wanted something to either throw on the back of the sofa or to keep near it, because obviously heating's quite expensive, especially if you're like me and you're on a meter. So yeah, apart from that, I don't have any other knitting projects. I try and not have too many on the go, because I tend to get a bit lost in my projects, and yeah, I try and like to stick under 5. But yeah, apart from that, I don't have anything else. I do have a couple of stash enhancements that I brought. I recently rediscovered my local yarn shop, so I have a couple of little things from there. But yeah, I try and not spend too much money on yarn, because I don't have the space to put it anywhere. So yeah, first off, I brought, this is an old one now, this is West Yorkshire Spinners. I really love their yarn. It is, to say it's Blueface Leicester, I will put my teeth in. Yeah, to say it's Blueface Leicester and it's only 35% of that, it's still super soft. Smells so sheepy, and it's great. This is their signature 4-ply. You probably can't see because it's being blown out. There you go. In there, that's probably about true to colour. Their candy cane colourway. This is last year's, it might be the year before's Christmas colour. No, it was last year's Christmas colour. It was 2017. Yeah, I will make Christmas socks eventually. It is on the list, and now that I have this, I will do it. I don't promise myself things because I never get around to doing it, and then somebody always rings me and has a baby, or my friend rings me and she needs something for her daughter or a kid or whatever, and then I end up not making myself anything. As I said, I'm highly surprised I made that hat for myself because I don't really get time. I do have some knitting aspirations that I do want to knit in the possible future. But yeah, other stash enhancements that I had is this one. That's pretty true to colour. It's white, like a white base with neon pink and purple and green and orange, like micro stripes. So I'm hoping that this will be like a spattered effect. But yeah, I have 2 of these because they came as a set. These are both by Grundle. Again, can you tell that I like German sock yarn and Italian sock yarn? But But yeah, this one's called Hot Socks Print. I don't know if it's going to knit up into a print. Same as before, 75% virgin wool, 25% polyamide. This one's colour 509. I don't know the name for it because I brought it offline and it didn't come with a name. So yeah, these are destined to be socks. How clean they will stay, I don't know. So yeah, and my final one. This one took forever to come. I ordered this one off Amazon thinking it was a 100g ball, and it wasn't. It was a 50g ball. This one is Red Heart. Yeah, Heart and Soul. Yeah. This is the. What does it say? It's 187 yards or 171 metres, 50 grams. So I'm presuming it's sock yarn. This is colour 3930 or Jelly Beans. And I don't have that many like bright sock yarn. But this one caught my eye. And it wasn't that expensive to say this came all the way from the US. It took about a week and a half to get here, which normally with Amazon Prime is like a couple of days. But yeah, I am looking forward to knit with this. It's really soft. To say that it's 73% wool and 27% nylon. It doesn't say whether it's superwash wool or it's just normal non-superwash. But yeah, it's a beautiful colour. It's teal green and orange and yellow and like a deep plummy purple, which are all the colours that make me happy. So I'm going to have some very funky socks. But because I thought it was a 100g ball, and it's not, it's 50g, I'll have to do a contrast heel, toe and cuff, which I don't mind. It makes it more interesting. So yeah, that's probably all I have. I do have some knitting aspirations, which I'll just grab my bullet journal. Yeah, my bullet journal. I don't tend to write quite a lot of knitting in here. It's mainly stuff if I'm working on stuff and jotting stuff down. Where have you gone? We are in here somewhere. I do have a couple of things that I want to do this year. Like I want to travel some more, and because I don't travel nearly as much as I would like. Knitting projects, there we go. So just to name a few, obviously I'm not going to get all of these done. The Violet Waffles hat by Halladora J. I want to knit the Wonder Woman wrap by Carissa Browning because I love Wonder Woman. The movie that she just brought out was amazing, and I think she's a kick-ass superhero. For, you know, my all-time favourite is Black Widow because she's an Avenger and she's amazing, and Scarlett Johansson's like, she looks amazing in black leather. So yeah, Wonder Woman and Scarlett Johansson are two of my favourite female superheroes ever. So yeah, want to do that, but that's the Wonder Woman wrap by Carissa Browning. Now, my next one will be, I've got to buy the yarn for it, but I'm determined I'm going to do it. I'm going to knit the flax jumper, well, sweater, jumper, whatever you want to call it, depending on where you are. So yeah, I'm going to knit the flax pullover, jumper, yeah, whatever. I will go and buy the yarn for it because I'm fed up to the back teeth of buying a jumper and it not fitting me. As you can probably tell, I'm quite well endowed in the upper body department. So the flax I can get away with knitting a bigger size and it being slightly baggier. And obviously because it's wool, it's more forgiving. But yeah, I'm fed up of buying jumpers and then riding up my stomach, or I'm bending over, then riding up my back and whatnot. So I thought, sod it, I'll knit my own, and whatnot. So yeah, that will be a possible, if I can find some wool to knit it with, I will knit it at some point this year. I do want to knit the mix and match cardigan as well by Mina Phillips, because it just looks like an awesome cardigan and it's big and squishy, but I've got to find yarn for that that's not mega expensive, because obviously if it's going to cost me an arm and a leg, I might as well just go and buy a jumper. Apart from that, I might knit Harry the mix and match sweater and just do it plain stockinette. I don't know yet, I haven't decided. But yeah, apart from that, Harry demanded a jumper. Ian's quite laid back, he's quite happy, you know, he wants another hat, he wants a slouchy beanie hat, so I'll probably knit him a sock head at some point, or I have knit him before in the past. I have knit him, I've knit him the Bankhead hat, which was quite popular a couple of years ago. I have knitted him it's Grammy's favourite hat pattern by Tannis Fibre Arts, and he quite likes that one, and it fits on his head quite nicely. And then I did knit him a generic ribbed beanie, but he says it falls off his head, so I don't know if I will knit him another ribbed one. Apart from that, I've got a blanket to do that I want to get finished by the end of the year. I probably won't be recording this podcast weekly, just because my schedule does not, it doesn't allow me time to film on a weekly basis. And I don't really finish projects that quick anyway. That hat was a fluke. But yeah, that was just because it was mindless knitting. I could just go round and round and round. So yeah, it'll probably be a fortnightly podcast. I will try and film at some point, depending on how well this podcast goes, because obviously I do work 2 jobs. I do run an Etsy shop. I do have a hyperactive 6-year-old to run around after, as well as trying to find time for not adult time, but you know, time with the boyfriend and seeing family and different things. So yeah, I will try and film within the next 2 weeks at some point. I won't guarantee it. But yeah, if you are all wondering what this podcast will be called, it's going to be called the Crafty Maker Podcast, because I don't class myself as constricted to one craft. I want to get back into jewellery making, and obviously I said I wanted to learn hand lettering and things like that, which are all crafts, you know, and I do eventually want to make things from those crafts and progress my Etsy shop and so on and so forth. So thank you all very, very much for watching. I hope I haven't waffled on for far too long. But yeah, hopefully you should see me in the next 2 weeks. If you have any questions, anything you want to know, anything you want to ask me, please pop over to Ravelry. There is the Crafty Maker Podcast group, which shall be up and running within the next couple of days. But yeah, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Please come back again. Thank you. Bye.